In Thailand, archaeologist Luke rides his scooter through busy streets, ignoring persistent calls from someone named Kasem. Soon, several cars surround him. Kasem demands Luke to return the tube containing a stolen painting that belongs to his boss. One of the men brandishes a gun, so Luke pretends to comply and says he'll pull over. Instead, he stops short and, as the cars pass, takes a side street to escape. A high-speed chase begins. Luke's quick reflexes cause the pursuing vehicles to crash into traffic. He veers into a crowded market where the cars can't follow, leaving only a biker on his tail. The chase continues into a cramped apartment building where the biker crashes due to the tight space. Luke rushes down the stairs and exits the building, only to be blocked by Kasem's car. He's knocked off his scooter, but a crowd quickly gathers, giving Luke the chance to crawl away unnoticed. To scatter the crowd, Kasem fires into the air and sends his thugs after Luke on foot. Despite a hurt leg, Luke hurries through narrow alleys as gunfire rings out. He calls his teammates to say he won't make his flight. They instruct him to take the train instead. Luke dashes through another market and hijacks a food vendor's cart. Kasem gets back in his car to chase him again. Luke unhooks the cart, sending it crashing into Kasem's vehicle and causing flames to erupt on the windshield. Kasem loses control and collides with traffic just as police arrive to surround him. Luke slips away unharmed. At the train station, Luke leaps from his scooter and barely boards the moving train. That night, he falls asleep in his seat and dreams of stealing a golden mask from an ancient temple. When he wakes, a woman named Esme is sitting across from him. Esme explains that she recovers rare paintings and that the men around them work for her. When Luke refuses to hand over the painting, Esme pulls a knife as one of her thugs grabs him from behind. Esme tries to wrest the tube from him and kicks Luke when he won't let go, but he grabs her arm. She wriggles free by slipping out of her jacket. Luke grabs a plate from a nearby table and smashes it over the thug's head, then headbutts him to break free. He tackles Esme while kicking another thug aside, but Esme quickly regains control and overpowers him before walking away again. Luke fights off another attacker and catches up to Esme, who now defends herself with her knife. In the struggle, she accidentally cuts the strap on the painting's tube. As they each hold one end of it, the knife is flung away. Luke pulls hard on the tube, launching Esme into the train's bathroom and slamming the door shut. Luke then climbs to the roof of the train car, waiting for a water tower to come into reach. He jumps but misses the railing and crashes through the roof of a nearby shack. Bruised, he calls his teammates and asks them to pick him up. Meanwhile, in London, Luke's sister Charlotte is meeting with her unfaithful ex-husband Harold and his lawyer. Harold wants full custody of their son, which infuriates her. Later, at the museum where she works, Charlotte is shocked to find Luke casually waiting for her. He claims he's just visiting, but Charlotte suspects otherwise. They rarely see each other, and he's clearly in trouble. Luke invites Charlotte to join him on another adventure like they used to with their father. But she reminds him that she's a mother now and needs the stability of her curator job. Luke distracts her by pointing out damage on one of the paintings. While she examines it, he steals a different painting off the wall. The alarm goes off immediately and the museum begins locking down. Charlotte follows Luke outside and demands the painting back. He says he'll return it if she gets in the car. Luke speeds off, making wild turns through narrow London streets as police give chase. Eventually, he drives into the back of a truck driven by his teammates Murphy and Deb. Charlotte recognizes them as members of their father's old crew. While Luke and Charlotte argue about her life choices, Murphy examines the painting and concludes it's not the one they need. Luke shrugs and tells Charlotte she can return it. Then he knocks her out with a sleeping spray. Charlotte later wakes up alone on a park bench. She rushes back to the museum, where Inspector Jamal is now investigating the theft. He suspects Charlotte may have helped her brother, and while they argue, they discover the stolen painting has somehow been returned to its place. After work, Charlotte tries to pick up her son Thomas, but Harold refuses to let him go, citing her involvement in a criminal case. Furious, she confronts Luke, who's now hanging out with a wealthy man named Owen. Owen calmly explains that he's dying of cancer and has hired the team to find the Fountain of Youth, his only hope for a cure. Charlotte insists the fountain is just a myth, but Luke argues that nearly every culture on Earth has mentioned the fountain in some form. He believes such widespread belief can't be a coincidence. He reminds her that legend says the location of the fountain is hidden from mankind by God. The team believes that vital information has been passed down through generations within certain families known as the Protectors of the Path, guardians entrusted with keeping the secret. Luke suspects that Esme might be one of them. Back in the 1600s, 6 artists made a pact to reveal the fountain's location by embedding clues in various paintings. These are the same paintings Luke has been stealing from different countries. Each one contains hidden Latin signatures reading 6 and 1, referring to 6 paintings leading to one path. They're also marked with distinct letters, though the team hasn't deciphered what those mean yet. Charlotte realizes they took the wrong Rembrandt and confronts them, knowing they want her help to locate the real one. She isn't interested in joining, too concerned about her son, until Owen offers to have his powerful lawyers help her. In return, Charlotte advises them to investigate the Vanderbilt family. Later that evening, Luke is reading up on the Vanderbilts at a cafe when Esme approaches. She warns him to stop searching or she'll eliminate every member of his team. The next day, Luke attends Thomas's piano recital and informs Charlotte that he's located the real painting. After some back and forth, he convinces her to help retrieve it. Sometime later, the team is aboard a ship off the coast of Ireland, searching for a sunken cruise liner where the painting was last seen. Specialized drones are deployed underwater to cut out a section of the ship containing the first-class storage. They then attach flotation tanks to lift it to the surface. Once the section resurfaces, Luke and Charlotte enter, with Charlotte guiding them using an old map. Meanwhile, the team notices something approaching on the radar but can't reach Luke by radio. A helicopter arrives and drops Esme and her crew onto the ship. Inside, Charlotte sips some old liquor she finds in a cabinet while Luke uses a blowtorch to open a closet labeled with the Vanderbilt name. Inside, he finds an aged box containing the missing painting, prompting a celebratory toast between the siblings. Luke tries to pocket some jewelry as well, but Charlotte slaps his hand, reminding him they're not grave robbers. With the flotation tank starting to give out, time is running short. As they prepare to leave, Esme and her armed team block their way. Despite being outnumbered, the siblings fight back. In the chaos, the bag carrying the painting is dropped. Gunfire erupts, preventing Esme from retrieving it. Bullets ricochet off the ship's metal, even hitting the helicopter. Unfortunately, the tanks are also hit, and the ship begins to sink. Luke slips on the rising water, and one of Esme's men holds him at gunpoint. Charlotte smashes a chair over the man's head, giving Luke the chance to recover the painting, until he freezes at the sight of Esme holding Charlotte hostage. With the helicopter too damaged to stay, it departs, and the liner begins to descend. Luke tries to stall, convinced Esme won't hurt his sister. Suddenly, the ship shudders violently. Charlotte seizes the moment, hitting Esme and shoving her over the balcony and into the sea. As the siblings attempt to escape, a massive wave slams them back. Luke's leg gets tangled in a net, pulling him underwater. Charlotte dives in to rescue him, freeing his leg, and together they swim to the surface, where their team pulls them onto a boat. Back in London, Harold tells Charlotte that he's taking a job in Japan and wants her to take care of Thomas. When he mentions his new employer, Charlotte realizes Owen pulled strings to reunite her with her son. Later, she rejoins the team to analyze the mysterious letters using the newly recovered painting. The letters spell out wicked, and referencing the 6 and 1 clue, they deduce it points to the Wicked Bible. This infamous 1631 misprint of the King James Bible included the commandment, "Thou shalt commit adultery," omitting the word "not." The team wonders if the error was intentional, a secret sign to mark certain Bibles containing clues to the fountain's location. All copies were destroyed, except for one. Suddenly, Inspector Jamal and his officers burst in to arrest the siblings. But before they can act, Kasem and his men barge in, holding everyone at gunpoint. Luke offers a deal. Kasem can take him and all the paintings if he lets the team go. Kasem agrees, and Charlotte leaves with the others. Luke pretends to retrieve the paintings, but instead plays loud music and ducks under the table. The distraction allows the police to spring into action, leading to a massive brawl. Gunfire erupts, and Luke's car is riddled with bullets. Amid the chaos, he sneaks out the back door and escapes on a boat with his team. Eventually, the fight ends with the police emerging victorious. Jamal examines the computer and sees the quote from the Wicked Bible. Sometime later, Luke finds himself in a desert, standing before a glass of glowing liquid. He takes a sip, and suddenly, Charlotte and Thomas begin aging rapidly before his eyes. A mysterious voice warns, "Don't drink," and Luke drops the glass. As it shatters, he jolts awake, on a plane. The team is flying to Austria in search of the last copy of the Wicked Bible, and this time, Thomas is along for the journey. Later, at the Austrian National Library, Luke, Charlotte, and Deb are granted access to a restricted section thanks to a generous donation from Owen. Meanwhile, Owen is treating Thomas to a fancy meal and answering all of his questions about the high life. In a hidden room, the trio inspects the Bible, where the librarian tells them about a second misprint, this one including a vulgar word. Outside, Murphy is standing guard and spots Esme arriving with her men. He quickly warns the others. Luke heads out to confront her, and after some tense banter, a fight breaks out. They use bookshelves and furniture as weapons, and when one of Esme's men jumps in, Luke swiftly takes him down. Esme tries to hold him at gunpoint, but he disarms her. She switches tactics and begins choking him with a rope, stepping on it to add pressure. Luke responds by pushing her, leaving her dangling from the chandelier. Back in the secret room, Murphy informs the team that all exits are blocked. Time for Plan B. The trio puts the librarian to sleep using knockout spray and steals the Bible. Deb plants a small bomb, blowing a hole in the floor that lets them escape into the sewers. At the same time, Esme's men attempt to kidnap Owen, but he effortlessly defeats them without letting Thomas get hurt. That evening, Jamal arrives at the library and begins tracking Luke's movements. At their hotel, the team examines the Bible and finds a repeated sequence of digits on the gilded edge, all using numbers 1 through 7. They can't crack the code until Charlotte decides to leave, worried about putting Thomas in danger after hearing about the earlier attack. On the way out, Thomas suggests they're looking at the code the wrong way. They return to the team, and he explains the digits don't represent literal numbers, they're musical notes. He plays a melody based on the pattern, and a quick online search identifies it as Water in the Desert. The song is so ancient that its origins are unknown, but it pays tribute to the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The team overlays a map of the 7 wonders with the path drawn from the paintings. Everything aligns, except the pyramids of Giza. This means the fountain is hidden there. They prepare to head to Egypt, and Owen convinces Charlotte to join by promising extra security. That night, Luke dreams about the mask again, but this time a shadowy figure reaches out and touches the sand, causing black liquid to spread and infect Luke. He wakes up suddenly. Charlotte is beside him and questions how much he really knows about Owen. Luke insists Owen's a good guy, but Charlotte is concerned he might want to sell the fountain for profit. Elsewhere in the Vatican, the leader of the Protectors gives Esme a special key. Her mission is to prevent anyone from drinking from the fountain. Later, the team arrives in Egypt. Luke shows Thomas advanced scans of the pyramids, which reveal hidden chambers that had never been accessed before. At the site, Charlotte watches the security team and becomes suspicious of the many bags they're carrying. A well-known professor gives them a tour but admits he doesn't know how to access the secret chambers. Owen grows frustrated and orders his men to begin digging, revealing that the bags contain tools. The professor objects, warning about damaging a priceless monument, but Owen's men throw him out. Charlotte protests too, and Owen snaps, his tone turning cold and calculating. Outside, Jamal arrives and asks to enter, but the guards turn him away. He returns moments later with a convoy of police cars. The security team opens fire, launching explosives at the vehicles. Survivors take cover and shoot back. From a distance, Esme watches and waits. Meanwhile, the team finds a hidden passage and enters the special chamber. Inside is a massive structure that needs to be moved, but it's too heavy. Owen commands his men to bring in tools, and Charlotte is shocked to see guns among their gear. The tools don't work either, and Owen insists on using explosives. Luke and Charlotte both object. While the adults argue, Thomas discovers an ancient instrument and begins playing it. The sounds travel through pipes in the chamber, causing the structure to respond. At the right moment, Charlotte strikes a gong, and the entire room trembles. Patterns begin to form in the sand covering the structure. Now, Charlotte can move it easily with one hand, revealing a hidden lift. The team gets on the platform and begins descending. Outside, Murphy and Deb decide the security team has gone too far. They sneak behind them and take down a few guards. However, Deb gets shot in the arm, and Murphy rushes to help her. Just as a guard is about to finish them off, Esme intervenes, taking down several attackers. More enemies rush her, firing wildly. She uses one of the bodies as a shield while returning fire. With the security team defeated, Jamal and Esme agree to join forces. Together, they enter the pyramid and begin clearing out the guards protecting the revealed structure. Esme finds rope among the supplies, allowing the team to rappel down the lift shaft. Underground, the lift stops abruptly, dropping them into a corridor lined with cryptic, paradoxical inscriptions. They soon reach a dead end marked by a carving of the Tree of Life. Charlotte takes a piece of amber from a statue of the goddess Nornit and places it into the tree carving. The wall opens, revealing another room, but it's suspended high above the ground. Luke touches a gem embedded in a nearby sculpture, activating a mechanism that causes stairs to emerge from the walls. The group carefully descends to the ground level. There, a small hole opens, revealing more stairs leading to yet another chamber. In the center is a shallow pool. It appears to be the Fountain of Youth. Charlotte reminds everyone of the warning inscriptions. Those unworthy of receiving a blessing will instead be cursed. Owen insists Luke should drink first and becomes increasingly aggressive. Realizing something is off, Charlotte confronts him and correctly guesses that Owen isn't actually dying. In a chilling tone, Owen admits he came only to sell the fountain and then shoots Luke in the arm, forcing him to approach the water. As Luke touches the pool, water begins to rise and swirl, forming a true fountain. Blood from his wound drips into the water, which lifts him into the air. His hands begin to glow, and he sees a younger version of himself reflected in them. Just as he prepares to drink, he has a vision of Charlotte and Thomas rapidly aging. Choosing to protect them, Luke pulls his hands apart. The water responds by healing his wound and gently setting him back down. Owen, furious, tries to shoot Luke again, but the water shields him. Undeterred, Owen drops his own blood into the fountain. As the water begins to envelop him, Esme activates a hidden mechanism using the special key, recalling what the Protector leader told her: if a selfless person drinks from the fountain, they gain eternal youth at the cost of their loved ones. But if the drinker is selfish, the fountain drains their own life force. Owen drinks, and immediately begins aging rapidly, writhing in agony as the water violently reacts to his greed. Esme strikes a new gong, triggering the collapse of the room. Doors begin slamming shut and the hole in the floor closes. The team races back up the stairs, leaving Owen behind to perish in the cursed water. During their escape, Owen's bodyguard slips and falls to his death. Luke also stumbles, but Esme helps him back to his feet. The corridors continue to collapse around them, forcing the team to dodge numerous obstacles to make it out alive. Once outside, Jamal finally acknowledges that Owen was the true mastermind behind everything. Esme, impressed by Luke's integrity, kisses him on the cheek before bidding farewell. The siblings are eager for another adventure, and Thomas grins as he tells them he already has an idea. Like and subscribe for more. Thank you.